This is oh, forget the intro. This is a little French electric car that I freaking love. Look, it has sliding doors. Okay, maybe I am a bit of a sucker for novelty, but look at it. It's so neat. This little car is a 2011 Mia Electric. Mia was a small French car maker that made cars from 2011 to 2013, so not an especially long time. This, as I already said, is the Mia Electric. They did make two other models, the Mia L, which was the long wheelbase version of this, that had 4 seats. This one has 3, but we'll get to that later. And then there was the Mia U, which only had 1 seat and oodles of cargo space because it was a van. The Mia is powered by a 13 horsepower electric motor and has a limited top speed of 62 miles per hour, or 100 kilometers per hour because it's French and they like the metric system, as they should because it's better. The Mia was available with either an 8 kilowatt hour or 12 kilowatt hour lithium iron phosphate battery pack, and that gave it a range of 50 miles thereabouts or 75 miles depending on which battery pack you got. It weighs either 1,700 or 1,800 pounds, again depending on which battery you picked out. When this car was new, it cost about $33,000, which is rather a lot. Now let me show you around this thing because it's just so cool. I'll start with the body shell of this car. I was told that the bodywork on this car is carbon fiber, but nowhere in my reading online did I see mention of this car having a carbon fiber body. In fact, all of the reading I did suggested that this car has a steel space frame wrapped in plastic body panels. It does look vaguely carbon fiber-esque, but I suspect that that's just a pattern work or a vinyl wrap or some sort of hydro dipping or something like that, and then it's just plastic. So let's just assume that this is a plastic body shell. I should now further avoid talking about the coolest feature of this car by talking about the front of it, where you have the Mia logo, a single central windshield wiper, and just the cutest little face. The rear end of this car has a full glass hatch, much like the Think City, which is also an electric car. And once you open that hatch, you have access to the fairly deep cargo well. Now, you may think the feature on this car that I'm excited about is the sliding door for either side, which I shall now open using the Mia logo-shaped door popper. But no, the feature I'm most excited about is the driver's seat. It's a central driving position. Like a McLaren F1, you have 2 seats behind it in a triangle configuration. How cool is that? There's even this cutout in the floor to make getting into the driver's seat easier. The Mia Electric, has 3 seats in a triangle configuration. The 2 people behind me are kind of close and they wouldn't be able to fit directly behind the seat. I did mention that the Mia L is the long wheelbase version and it has 4 seats. It has the same sort of seating configuration except the rear seats is a bench, so 3 people can sit back there because it has a longer wheelbase. Because you'll probably want to know, you open the door on the inside the same way you do on the outside with this Mia logo shaped and illuminated door popper button. Hang on, I have to interrupt myself for a second to have you listen to the sound the blinkers make. Okay, on to something else now. Now, can we talk about this cool centralized dash pod here? It looks like it's made of carbon fiber, probably isn't, but it's centralized to the driver. On the left, you have the switcher button between drive and reverse, the hazard light switch, and the eco mode button. And on the right, you have the climate controls. Just below the climate controls is the headlight angle switch, because that's apparently something that's common in France. Above the steering wheel is your gauge cluster, which has all of your pertinent electric car information. You have 2 stalks. To the right in the footwell is the radio. To the left in the footwell is a blank pad and the hatch opener button. Just above those 2 places are some little red plastic trays. On the right, it's just an empty tray with a power outlet. And on the left, it's an empty tray with a cup holder and a power outlet and what looks like a vent of some sort. And just above those 2 trays are the 2 little toggles to adjust the outside rear view mirrors. And while we're on the subject of mirrors, the inside rear view mirror is mounted to the windshield, but it is not in the middle because that wouldn't make any sense, because I'm in the middle. It's mounted to the right side, like a McLaren F1, except I believe the McLaren F1 has 2 rear view mirrors, 1 on each side. Whatever, it's still like a McLaren F1. And while we're talking about mirrors, I have a question for the audience because I couldn't find anything online about it and no one at the museum seemed to know what these mirrors on the dash pod are for. They face pretty much straight up. You can barely see them from the driver's seat, and I have no idea what they're for. They're just there. Maybe they're there for some sort of weird aesthetics. I don't know. Maybe they have a purpose. So if any of you are in the know about Mia's or live in France land, Let me know in the comments what these are for. And please don't guess. Only one window on the Mia opens, and it's this one on the sliding door here. It just slides open. Because of course it slides open. Why would you have it roll up and down when you can have it slide open? This is France. I'm getting a little excited. All right, it's time to drive it. Look, I'm sitting in the middle of the car. It's the best thing ever. Give it a little start up. All right, it's ready to go. It's just in drive. Let's take the handbrake off. Let's go. Did I unplug it? Oh yeah, it's unplugged. Little vacuum pump whirring for the brake booster. And I silently move on. Now, despite my love for this car and its wonderful quirkiness, it's quite easy to see why it didn't succeed, because it was 33 grand and the small range and small amount of power it had really limited it to urban areas, and it's kind of hard to justify spending 33 grand plus taxes on this small car. With as many novelties as it has, it's not a logical purchasing decision. So the company, Mia, only lasted 2 years, and then they went bankrupt, unfortunately. But let's take it on the road, because I'm driving a tiny taxi with sliding doors and electric power, and I'm sitting in the middle of it, and I love it. I expect it to feel slow, because that's what all the reviews online said. Yet it is not particularly brisk. It actually feels quite a bit like the Wigo, except there's no pickup point. It is just slow. 13 horsepower is all this little thing has. I love the central driving position. I thought it would take some time to get used to, but absolutely not. I feel like I know where every little bit of the car is. And the visibility is great, which, I mean, look at it. Of course the visibility is great. Listen to the delightful blinker as I turn right. The speedometer is in kilometers per hour, but that doesn't really affect me. I'm only going to be on city streets. What are they going to do, arrest me? Let's go! Give it the beans! If I had one of these, I would drive it everywhere. Everywhere! Okay, the acceleration up this hill is not particularly astounding. In fact, I am losing speed right now. Yeah, oh, that's not good. Okay, so maybe it is a little too underpowered. That's unfortunate, and that makes me sad. Let's get over into this lane. Oh, is it losing power? Oh man, my dreams are being crushed right now. It may be too slow. Oh no, I've got a battery warning. That may be what the low power is about. Oh yeah, I'm barely moving now. This is problematic. I'm having a breakdown. I am having a breakdown. Let's go back to the museum now. I'm going 9 kilometers an hour. This poor car. "10 kilometers an hour. I have increased speed. I hope I can actually do a real speed when I go down the hill. Aw, this makes me sad. 14 kilometers an hour. There is a little, I'm up to a higher speed now, even though the battery's dying. There is quite a bit of wind noise. Oh, there's quite a bit of air coming into the door pocket on the sliding door. Oh, that's quite a bit of air. Yeah, it's not a very good seal there. I don't know if I don't have the door shut all the way, or if that's just how it is. Okay, I'm approaching an uphill section now. We're slowing down quite dramatically. Oh, poor car, it's whining at me. We're down to 9 kilometers an hour. I might not be able to make it back to the museum. 10 kilometers an hour. It still says I have 100% battery, so I have no idea what's going on. 12 kilometers an hour. 13, it is picking up a little bit of speed. I'm driving on the shoulder. That seems like the appropriate thing to do. This has been a very short drive before it broke down, but I did get a good sense of what the accelerative abilities of this car are when I pulled out of the museum, and it seemed all right. I'd even call it adequate, and I got a good sense of how poorly sealed the doors are, which I would call inadequate. There's lots of wind rushing in when I got up to any sort of speed, even though I didn't really get much speed on. I still love this car to pieces. I just wish it wasn't broken. And I've made it back to the museum. They didn't have to call a tow truck. Yay! I'm sorry my short time driving the Mia had to end so poorly, but it is a small French car that they made for 2 years. Problems are to be expected, I have to imagine. Anyway, it still won me over with its novelty, so even if it drove like absolute garbage for the 10 minutes that it worked, I said 10 minutes, for the 10 seconds that it worked, I still would have loved it. It's back into the parking place now with its incessant beeping. Look at all the visibility I have! This is a note to car makers out there. Apparently all you have to do to win me over is to have sliding doors in a central seating position, and your car can be complete garbage and I'll still love it. I'm a very simple person. So that's your look at the Mia Electric, a quirky little electric French car that I want badly because look at it, it's so wonderful and charming and quirky and neat. Okay, maybe I've fallen victim to its novelty, but I still want one, even though I can't have one because of the stupid American 25-year import law that bans me from having this car for at least 20 years. Oh well. Thank you for watching, and thank you to the Lane Motor Museum for having me here and letting me play around with your silly little cars that I love very much.